Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast, supporting parents with the real-life tools they need to raise the confident, interdependent people the world needs. Gail Bell and Julie Friedman-Smith interview experts who share their knowledge to assist parents in creating a home environment where kids can thrive.
Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast. This is Julie Friedman-Smith.
And I'm Gail Bell.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Beaner's Fun Cuts for Kids hair salons. Parenting is hard, haircuts shouldn't be. Visit beanersfuncuts.com for a location near you.
I'll begin by telling you about our guest today. Shawna D. Ryan is a registered massage therapist who specializes in therapeutic and relaxation massage, myofascial cupping, Bowen therapy, and manual lymphatic drainage. She has been practicing for the past 10 years and works at Full Circle Calgary, a collaborative health clinic, as well as in her home-based clinic in the community of Mahogany. In her practice, Shawna treats people of all ages and all levels of health, helping them achieve a better quality of life by relieving them from the pain caused by injuries, stress, sports, car accidents, and body discomfort. She also helps them to maintain good bodily and mental health. Shawna's role is to educate her patients about what is going on in their bodies, why it is happening, and to accompany them on their journey towards optimal health and wellness. Welcome, Shawna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Shawna, we know that you have a lot of information to share with our listeners. Can you help us to understand how you help your patients?
I help my patients by being more aware of their bodies and what is actually going on in their bodies. I spend a lot of time with my clients going over exercises and stretches on how to help themselves and being more aware of when certain conditions are happening in their body, what are the symptoms and signs that they can recognize.
So it really sounds like what you do is more than just about skeletal health. What other areas does it affect?
Absolutely. The work that I do in the Bowen therapy, lymphatic drainage, and even in the therapeutic massage really affects the whole body. So it involves the mental, the psychological, as well as the physical and the skeletal, because everything will flow down into one another if something or one part of the body is off.
Right. Well, that's really interesting. How do you explain that? You know, I know that you work with a lot of children. How do you explain that to kids at their level? Because it's way better for you explaining it than a parent trying to tell them they need it, right?
Absolutely, and I have quite a few children that I treat and thoroughly enjoy them because they are open to learning. And I actually just said this to a client this morning, that when we teach our children how to take care of themselves and how to look at different signs and symptoms, they actually turn around and make us adults accountable for ourselves as well. So when I teach the children on how to pay attention to their body and be aware of the different nervous systems that they have, when we are being affected by the sympathetic, where we are just running from the tiger, and we're in chronic pain or we're in chronic stress at school, and then there's a parasympathetic, where our body heals, where our body sleeps, we digest our foods. So when a child or an adult is in pain or chronic pain or stress, that nervous system can sometimes get stuck in that fight or flight. And that's where I come in and helping children to calm themselves down, calm the body down so it can heal. And I do that through the different modalities that I practice.
That's really interesting.
And so you were talking about when your body is in sympathetic, that kids aren't sleeping and digesting. So how is it that just by working on them and with what you do, it can affect their sleep and digestion?
First and foremost, calming that nervous system down. So our bodies really enjoy a touch release technique. So Bowen therapy is that, manual lymphatic drainage is that, meditation is great for that, where our body enjoys that nutrient feeling that calms the body down. So when we can calm the body down through meditation, through yoga, Bowen therapy, lymphatic drainage, we actually can focus better. We can deal with our stress better. Our coping mechanisms are better. We can see clear, plan better, and then our whole life just flows a lot better.
Oh, in all areas for kids, for sure then, like social, emotional areas, schoolwork, sports, all of that would be affected.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, Shawna, We now know that more than ever. Parents and kids are on screens a lot. It's part of our life. It's not going away. What effect is this having on overall posture and health? Because I know as a mom of 2 teenagers, I'm probably too much saying to them, straighten up, put your shoulders back.
Yes, absolutely. And there's actually a condition that affects more than 90% of us, which is called forward head posture. And it does affect our overall health and our mental state and our physical state. What can happen is that our neck is to remain in a vertical situation. And what happens is when we're on screens specifically, we seem to want to reach forward with our nose, touch that screen with our nose, pulling our head forward. And what happens is every inch that your ear is past your shoulder, it weighs an extra 10 pounds. So if your ear is forward 3 inches, that's an extra 43 pounds on your neck and back, which is substantial. So then people start to get curves in their upper back. There's a lot of tension in the upper back and into the neck. So the things with head forward posture is it actually can cause you to have fatigue, jaw pain, headaches, dizziness. It can actually even affect someone to have asthma because everything is pulled forward. It's compressing the thoracic area of the body where your lungs are, and it can actually cause some breathing issues, which then also is going to feed into someone being able to focus and be awake. So that's how it all can affect our children.
Wow. So just from the head pulling forward, all of those things can happen. As you said that, I totally straightened up.
Was your nose touching your screen?
My nose is far away from it.
That is a great visual for children, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes,
it really
yes.
is.
And we all do it. We all do it, whether you're on a TV, a screen, your phone, even reading a book. You know, years and years ago, it actually used to be called study head because it happened more to kids who were in university who spent so much time reading, so they were always looking down or pulling forward with their nose. But now with all the social media, we're all doing it, all of us. And so it's now become called texting head as opposed to study head.
And so some of that we must be able to just affect by our consciousness and our awareness of our posture, and yet I suspect some of that is just kind of getting built into the way our muscles are overcompensating for that heavy head. Is that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is just being aware of where your head is or where your shoulders, because one's going to follow the other. So if your head goes forward, your shoulders have to go forward. If your shoulders stay nice and stacked, your shoulders back, your shoulder blades like they're in the back pocket of your jeans, your head cannot go forward. So when you start to feel the first symptom of forward head posture that people feel is right on top of their shoulders, they start to feel pain. That's the first sign, where's my head? Is probably forward.
Wow, these cues you're saying as parent educators, I'm hearing would be awesome for children. You know, so shoulders in your back pocket. Cues like that are so much better for children and so much more effective than a parent saying, straighten up. You know?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
So as parents, you know, many of us wonder about the effects of those heavy backpacks on children's bodies. My son had 4 core subjects last year in grade 11, and he had 4 massive textbooks in his backpack every day, walking to school and walking home. And I worried about it. I thought about it.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
The guideline for backpacks for our children really should be that it should weigh no more than 10 to 15% of their body weight. Because as we put more and more weight on our shoulders, it pulls our shoulders back, but to balance, our head has to go forward. Otherwise, we're going to fall on our butt. So our body has a great compensating pattern, right? It compensates in so many ways. And I see it every day working on the body, but the backpack specifically, that backpack's pulling back, that head has to go forward for balance. And we often see kids with those straps pulled right out long, and that is even pulling more so on their back. So if they are going to wear a backpack, super tight, have it so it's, part of their back, giving them support, or if they can, use a backpack that has wheels.
Okay. Right, and I would imagine that wearing a backpack over one shoulder, which I think many of us do on a regular basis, also would have an impact.
Absolutely. Because again, right, the body has to compensate for that. So if you've got your backpack strapped over your right shoulder, where does your head have to go? It has to go the opposite direction. So now you've got this pulling to the left to compensate for, again, your balance. So whether your head goes forward or it goes side to side, it is meant to stay stacked upon that cervical spine.
Okay. So all of those things they may start at our neck, but what I heard you say at the beginning is that they then kind of follow through the whole body as it starts to compensate.
Absolutely. And then what will happen is your head goes forward, your shoulders go forward, the curve in your low back is affected, then the hips end up being more of an anterior pull. It affects the whole line down. And one thing to if you want to look at your kids, and this is probably great because this will come back to us adults, but when you look at your kid and they're standing from the side, you want that ear and that shoulder to be in alignment all the way down to their feet. If their head is forward, their shoulders are forward, their butt is sticking out, these are all cues that the alignment isn't correct. So you want, like I said, if you just keep those shoulder blades nice and back and then downward motion so that they're like you're trying to stick them in those back pockets of your jeans, everything will be in alignment.
That is super helpful. And I think even having parents listen to this with their kids would be helpful because now it's just not one more thing that Mom is nagging me about.
Absolutely.
I can completely see my kids saying, "Oh, really? Really? Now you're nagging me about this?" If they're not saying it out loud, they might be saying it in their heads. But it's not about a parent nagging. It's just about proper body alignment and
health.
The pain, yes, and health, and getting rid of that pain in your left calf, which might be completely affected by something happening in your right shoulder, but just not putting those pieces together the way you would be able to do, Shawna.
My youngest client that I have with forward head posture is 6 years old. And I've sat down with her and took out a Dr. Seuss book, put it in an A-frame type setting, and laid her iPad against that so that she's looking straight at it as opposed to looking down, or giving them a music stand to put in front of them if they're studying for a long time, put their textbooks on the music stand and flip through their pages of work as opposed to looking down. So different options we can do, and if we're starting at age 6, it's only going to get worse as we get older. So if we can talk to our children and educate our children at a younger age, it's really going to help as they get older.
Oh, that is such a great piece of advice. I really appreciate that, Shawna. Speaking with you today has opened my eyes and hopefully my body to so much information.
And I'm sitting way straighter.
Yes,
and you can breathe better.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for sharing this information with us. Now, if our listeners want to find out more information from you, where is the best place for them to follow you?
You can follow me at fullcirclecalgary.ca, as well as on Facebook under Bowen for Health.
Bowen for Health. Wonderful. We'll put those links along with the podcast. Thank you very much for your time today, and I wish you straight walking.
Thank you, Shawna.
Thank you so much, Gail and Julie.